So I just confirmed something for myself, a suspicion I already had, regarding line widths, printing line widths in 3D printing. And so what I confirmed for myself is I used to use Simplify 3D, and there were kind of a lot of detailed controls in that. And what I mean by that is, so you can see here I have line widths, but in Simplify 3D, you could tell it minimum line width and maximum line width. So you tell it the line width, and it would slice blah blah blah. But you would also tell it a minimum line width and a maximum line width, and it would intentionally adjust the line width to fill in any gaps appropriately as much as it could, right? So if I slice this, so you can see here my default is 0.42, first layer is 0.5, but it's not telling you here that there's any variability. And I didn't care enough to try to figure it out before, and I was just so I have this boombox carrier thing, Bluetooth speaker carrier, Bluetooth speaker and phone carrier and stand. I don't know if you've seen the video, but here is the SolidWorks model for your reference. Right, so it's tilt adjust on the display, and you can go portrait or landscape, and the Bluetooth speaker fits in here. It's some Soundcore, Anchor Soundcore 2 something I got at Walmart, and it's like a brick shape, a little smaller, and it tucks in there and it nests in this pocket perfectly. And I can actually use it. I have other Bluetooth speakers I put in there sometimes. I've printed, obviously, like when you're designing something 3D printing, you get extra ones. But anyway, back at the ranch. So what I was thinking is, it takes a long time to print. All right, so this is a 3-hour print. And plus, I wouldn't mind saving plastic. So I'm saying, I'm going to cut out some more material. And then I was thinking, I could make these walls thinner. So these walls are 0.1 inch thick. To cut to the chase, what I figured out is that it does vary the line widths. No, not a big surprise, but I confirmed it here, and I kind of see how to manipulate it a little bit. So you can see here I have my standard 15% infill, I believe, and the 2 shell walls, and so there's a shell wall. Let's get away from that infill thing. So we get a shell wall, outer, inner, and outer and inner, and then obviously infill. And what I found here, I thought to check here because I noticed that there were other things that there's a drop down list here. Typically it's just line type, right? But you can go to line width. Notice you have all these other things that are interesting. I've played with here and there, but line width. So, and what I decided was how thin can I go? I don't want only 2 walls, and would it like if I made it so my outer wall here is 0.42 millimeters. So if I made my wall 0.84 millimeters, would it print the whole thing only 2 lines wide? But I wasn't thinking about that thin. I was thinking more like get it down to 3 lines. So that would be 2 outers and an inner. So that would be 0.84 plus 0.45, 1.2. So I don't know. I hate doing math on the fly. But so what I realized is because this wall just happens to be 0.1 inches now, and I know a millimeter is 40 thousandths of an inch. It's actually like 0.39387 or something like that. I think I messed it up somewhere on the 4th digit or so, but 40 thou is plenty close enough for napkin math, and even in practice for the most part, depending on how precision required. Obviously, press fits out the window. But anyway. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, so what I can do is, because it happens to be 0.1 millimeter, the math is very easy. So if I want to test this, I can just select this and I can scale it. And so initially I was thinking, like I was doing math in my head, it was incorrect, big surprise. And so if I go, let's say if I go 60%, now my wall is 60 thousandths of an inch wide, which is about a 1/16 of an inch or 1.5 millimeters. So then when I slice, now it's making it 4 lines thick. But you can see that, and you can see by the color here, this is a little darker green internally, or I guess that's lighter because that would be backwards. Tough to say. That's an interesting question. That looks darker and narrower. So it would obviously vary the width to come out with the line width. It would obviously vary the line width slightly in a situation like this to get the proper outside dimension, wall thickness dimension. And so I wonder now, I'm just thinking this through as I'm recording this, is that this looks narrower. So you know what I bet it is? I bet because the external wall is the cosmetic wall, right? That's what you're going to see. You're not going to see inside. Is that takes precedent. So that's more important. The line width is more important for the outer wall than it is for the inner wall. So it's going to try to shoot for that 0.42 outer wall and then shrink down the inner wall as required. And if I shrunk it enough, it would get rid of this line entirely. So this is interesting now. The more I think about it, the better it is. So what I can do is I can keep scaling this down. Oops. I can keep scaling this down until I'm going to scale it down until it's only 2 lines. And then I'm going to scale it up, just so it barely makes that 3rd line in the middle. And let's see, so that's going to be, I don't know, let's go to 30% just to start somewhere. I'll do a little trial and error. I could do some math, and math is awesome, but not super fun. So, all right, so we're 2 lines, and it looks pretty fat. So the point, although it looks narrower than the 0.44, definitely. So this is, well, this is supposed to be a 0.42. I would say that's probably pretty close, actually. Anyway, I could do the math. I don't want to do the math. And so, but it's not 3 lines. So now I can just go scale again, and I can say, how about 33? And then I can slice it again. Did that actually do what I meant to do? It didn't move. Oh, yeah, so I only scaled it by 3 more percent. So, all right, we're still at 2 lines. Let's grab it again and scale, and let's say 36. And slice it. And bring it down. We're still at 2 lines. Try it again. Scale it to, let's say 40. Slide it down. Still 2 walls. All right, because what I'm going to do here is I'm going to narrow the walls on my model and then reprint it. And you might say, well, if you already have a couple of them, why are you going to reprint it anyway? Well, it doesn't. So it latches, it pivots. Oh, this is an old model and is not correct. I never printed this one because it doesn't have the stops here. The detents. So I probably remember seeing that and then didn't print it because I never printed one. So it's got these detents, so it locks it at the tilt angle, and these guys get this dimple, and it fits in the detents. And it just the first one I had twice as many detents, and they were just too close together, and it just kind of, it didn't have enough gripping power, and this PLA just really slips on itself quite easily. And so I just made these deeper. Did I make them deeper? No, I didn't make them deeper. I made them twice as far apart, so there's more coverage between them. So like if I went to this feature, there's a million features in this model. Where are you? Well, I'm not going to get bogged down in that. But anyway, I had twice as many. And then it just wasn't enough of like a sawtooth sort of to break it. But anyway, so the important thing is, did I reslice this after I adjusted it? Let's find out. Okay, we are still 2 lines, and obviously I could change the line widths and force it to do 3 lines. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, and I'm not even sure if it's really a good or bad thing what I'm trying to do, but I think 3 lines is better than 2. But maybe 2 fatter lines would be better than 3 normal lines, but tough to say. Alright, so let's go to 44 and slice it. And so I wonder why it doesn't keep that down. Look at these lines getting red. That means it's really wide. So it's going well over. So look at this color. It's like 60, between 62 and 69, I would say. Maybe a little below 62 even. These getting very red. This is very red. So you can see they're getting very fat. And let's go a little more. I kind of like the fat lines actually. Maybe that's better. Maybe 2 fat lines is better than 3 normal lines, just because there's less of a seam. Because there's 2 seams to fail the other way. Whereas this way, there's only 1 seam to fail. Be interesting to test that. I'm not going to right now. Anyway. Alright. Did I, what happened? I guess I didn't scale it up yet. I guess I should go right to 50%. I was not expecting that. I may be missing something here. Alright, here we go. We got 3 lines with a fatter internal line. So I think this is going to be my number, which is fine because it's going to save me some plastic. And yeah, I just had a dumb thought. I almost said it. And then I realized that's not reality. So anyway, just a little food for thought on line widths and when you're designing your prints. This was helpful to me. Maybe it was helpful to you. Who knows? You can also download this Bluetooth speaker and phone holder. Wasn't really trying to sell it. I already had a video trying to do that, and not a lot of interest anyway, because you kind of have to have this exact same speaker and blah blah blah. But it's up there. So anyway, thanks for watching. Stay tuned and watch for the next one. We'll see you then.